I've had this 1972 Ferrari 365 GTB4, otherwise known as a Daytona, at my shop. The engine's out. We got to, that's a whole other story. But the other thing I have on a list of things I needed to fix on this car was the windshield gasket. Here I already took the windshield gasket or the windshield out, but these cars are notorious for leaks, and one of the reasons is just the windshield to the body fit isn't great, and besides the normal windshield leaks that you get, sometimes what happens is the frame starts to rust and bubble up, and it'll cause leaks, and the seal doesn't really seal up. But on this car, when I pulled the gasket out, it looks pretty good. I mean, there's just a little bit of surface rust there, but the bodywork on this car looks pretty clean. It looks pretty even. The only trick with this gasket is that after they put the chrome strip in, it's glued in place. So there's a little bit of glue that goes around the edge to seal the chrome trim. But other than that, I think we're in good shape as far as the cleanliness of the frame. So I believe that the reason why this windshield leaked was because it just the way the gasket was sealed to the glass, and I'm going to try to address that with some sealant and a few tricks. But my customer sent me a video of this car, and yep, it sure leaked in the rain. A lot of these cars, what happens is they don't really drive them in the rain. So when they're assembled, the gaskets are installed without a lot of sealant, or any sealant for that matter, kind of feeling like nobody drives this car in the rain, so they'll never notice that it leaks. But of course, my customer drives his car, uses it, and he first rainstorm he had, it kind of leaked all over the place, and that's just not good enough. The other bad thing about it is that the leaks you can see some of the water staining here. The Ferraris of this era have what they call a mouse fur dash. It's this weird flocking. No, it's not made from mouse fur, but it's got this, it's kind of like a velvet material, a special non-reflective dash surface. So they nicknamed it mouse fur because it's just a specific type of material that they use, and a lot of Ferraris from this era used it, and when the windshield leaks, it starts to soak the dash, and it stains. So yeah, we need to address that problem. Oh my God, this was one hell of a hard windshield to get back together. If I knew what I know now, boy, I don't know if I would have taken on the job. I mean, obviously I would have taken on the job, but it was a struggle. Days and days of trying to figure out why this gasket wouldn't go back on. I finally got it to go in. I think it's okay. I didn't shoot the details, I'm sorry, but what ends up happening on this chrome strip is that even with the alignment, which I thought was the center lines of the frame and everything like that, it didn't go together quite that way. To get the barb of this thing, it kind of goes in. I don't know if I can show you this, but like there's this lip, there's a barb that goes all the way around, and it has to catch in the seam of the gasket. And after the gasket is put on the glass, and what ended up happening was the gasket would go on the glass, and the glass looks filthy because I've got a lot of lubrication. I tried to seal it prior to putting the glass on, and that wasn't going to work because the gasket actually needed to move independently of the glass and the chrome strip, because you can get the glass on, or you can get the gasket on the glass, but the gasket still needed to move independently to the chrome strip. I mean, it's the same on other cars that I've done from earlier, 330s and 250 Ferraris, but the difference with this one was it just was, yeah, I just had a struggle with this thing. Putting it on, taking it off, looking at the measurements, putting it back on the car, checking the clearance. The chrome strip has to fit equally all the way around the glass, but the gasket is thick in certain areas. As it goes on, you got the last little bit, and it just wouldn't go on if the gasket wasn't correctly aligned with everything, which you really don't have much reference point. You'd put the whole gasket on and try to get the trim on, and it wouldn't go together. The corner that scares me is this one. I mean, you could see it's just overlapping a little bit. I think that when it goes in the car, that will seal up. But I tell you, I mean, you talk about like just trying to get everything to fit in perfectly, and you got this one little corner that just doesn't want to go in all the way. It could be make or break on all of it. I mean, when you look at the other side, it's pretty much in, lined up correctly and in, but those are the kind of things that you worry on, because if it's not perfect, and you know, again, the problem with these windshields is that nothing's perfect. It's a handmade car, different shapes, and then you add that to a reproduction gasket that might not be exactly correct in size, because it's just a handmade thing. You can see how, like, why is that bulging out a little bit? It is in, but it's just, those are the things that just can just drive you nuts on these cars. So we're gonna try to put it in and see what happens. So the technique of installing one of these windshields into the car is to get a rope installed in the rubber gasket all the way around the perimeter of the gasket. The rope gets lubricated and then it goes all the way around and is taped into place. This basically pulls the gasket into the pinch weld around the car as you place it in. First step is to get the glass to sit straight, lined up from side to side, up and down, before the rope starts being pulled as it goes around the lip of the car. I installed it, looked at the fit, and wasn't super happy at the way it was looking. I mean, it just didn't seem to fit right. So I ended up having to pull the gasket out again and trying again. This time I had my kid come down and with a second pair of hands help pull the gasket as I pushed. It helped a little bit, and it worked certainly a lot better than the last time, but not perfect, but it was good enough. The trick is to do this without breaking the glass. Okay, so after taking the windshield in and out several times, I got this to fit as best as I can. I know everything's a little dirty and smudged, but that's because you got to use a lot of lubrication to get this thing in. But you could see the gap around. I mean, that ends up getting sealed around with a bead of silicone, which I will deal with next. This car has been wrapped, so it's got you can see that there's a little line there from when they originally put the gap in. The bottom is not great. I'm kind of not happy with the way the bottom seals, but you know, when you look at how tight this seals here, there really isn't much else I can do. I mean, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. I tried several times to get it in better, but I think that's as good as it's gonna get. I think it'll look a lot better once the seal is in and I clean everything up, but that's the craziness of putting in a Ferrari windshield on a 365 GTB4. Thanks for watching.